back to the hand of the day. Today's hand comes from a 1,000, 2,000 no limit game I was playing in Macau, which is equivalent to 125, 250 in US dollars. So the stacks are about 500,000 for this hand. So it's about 275 big blinds a person, which is the most important thing to keep in mind throughout the hand. So there's a limper under the gun, +1, and he's a loose player, so he's limping with a ton of hands here, not really too threatening. I go ahead and raise it up to 8,000 to his left, and the button, who is another very loose, aggressive player in the game, he's sort of the spot in the game that a lot of people are trying to play hands against, 3-bets me to 26,000. Folds around to me, and I call with 2 nines. The flop comes 8-8-5 with a flush draw. I check, he bets 45,000, and I have a pretty easy check call here. Not much else I can really do. The turn comes at 2, bringing a second flush draw. So 8-8-5-2 with 2 flush draws. I check, he bets 90,000, and at this point I'm not loving my hand. He could have an 8, he could have gotten tricky pre-flop with a suited 8. I have 2 nines, so I kind of block all the combinations of 8-9 because my nines weren't the same as the cards on the board. So it's 8-8-5-2 with 2 flush draws, and my nines didn't cover either of those flush draws. I know it's a little confusing, but he cannot have 8-9 in this situation. Of course, he could have 8-7, 8-6 suited, ace-8 suited, something like that. And he could also have, an overpair like 10s, jacks, queens, kings, or aces. But he could have bluffs too. He could have any flush draw or just big cards trying to bully me around. And he's definitely a capable player, willing to bet multiple times and apply a lot of pressure here and just sort of go with his fancy play that he got into himself involved into pre-flops. I opt to call again. And at this point, the pot's a little over 300,000, so we're building up a very big pot and out of position. In a tough situation, there's not many great river cards for me. So the river comes an offsuit 10, completing neither of the flush draws. I check, hoping to simply win it. Showdown here, of course, and he bets 180,000. So I'm faced into a really tough decision. I beat only a bluff, of course. Any hand he's betting here for value just smashes me. But I really had to evaluate, and this is a situation where I feel like a lot of people are put in often, where they have a very mediocre hand, a bluff catcher hand, not a strong hand on the river, and they're faced with a tough decision. And how do you go about making that decision, and what sort of logic should be applied to sifting out all the information? So the thing that's important to do here is to determine all the hands that he's going to have that beat you, and then the hands that you beat. So the hands that beat me, I think, are any 8, of course. He's going to be betting with any 8. Also, any big pair. But I think that it's unlikely he has 10s, of course, because he might have checked the turn with that hand. Also, there's only 3 possibilities of 10s, so it's unlikely to say the least. I think jacks is extremely unlikely. I think he would check the river with jacks, because if you have 2 jacks on the river, what are you really hoping to get paid off with? I either have an 8 or a bigger pair, like queens or kings, or I could have a set of 10s myself. So it's really unlikely he's gonna bet 2 jacks on the river. 2 queens is like very borderline. I'd say like 50-50, he has 2 queens. And then I'm really beat against kings or aces. So the hands I'm really worried about are kings, aces, and any 8, a suited 8. Again, 10-8 suited is super unlikely. I have 2 nines, so 8-9 suited is pretty much impossible. And it's like 8-7, 8-6 suited or ace-8 suited. But now going on to the hands that I beat. So it's important to keep in mind, if your opponent is capable of having something like 8-9 suited, 8-7 suited, he's also capable of having 6-5 suited, 7-6 suited, 7-5 suited, or even Queen Jack suited, and have just picked up a flush draw on the turn and barreled away, and now he missed and he's bluffing the river. Of course, he could have all the ace high suited combos like ace 5 suited, ace 4, ace 3. All those are going to be bluffing on the turn in the river if he made any sort of flush draw. So when you're sort of weighing the pros and cons here, it's easy to see that there are some hands that beat you for sure, but there's at least an equal number of hands that you beat. And then the calculation that you have to make here that I feel like people miss so often is the price you're getting relative to the pot. So he bets 180,000. Including his bet, the pot is now 500,000. So I'm calling 180 to win 500, which means I only have to be right roughly 25% of the time, between 25 and 30% of the time. So if he's bluffing even 1 out of 4 times, I'm going to break even by calling. And given that there's sort of, let's say, a 50-50 chance that he has me beat or he's bluffing, I have a very easy call given the price of the pot odds that I'm getting in the hand. I have a very easy call because I'm going to recoup my money enough of the time to justify calling here.
Could you see the way I see the beautiful journey for you and me?
So I think that the situation is unique in itself, but more importantly, it illustrates a thought process that is very unanimous among professionals, and one that is really important to keep in mind for yourself when you're faced with tough decisions, especially on the river when there are no more cards left to come and your decision-making process should be very, very almost black and white. You should be able to narrow down your decision almost to a science like hopefully I explained here today. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the hand of the day, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.